Yo, what's good, y'all? Y'all already know what time it is, man. Listen, bro. Mr. 386, Volusia County boy, y'all know what time it is, bro. Listen, Florida on Florida violence is dedicated to when Florida teams play each other. And however it goes. Whether you win by 1 point, whether it's a blowout, y'all already know what time it is when we step on this gridiron game. Yo, if you are from Florida, then you got a ball this year with college football. I haven't even had time to get to high school yet, and I will. I'll rather wait till after the season's over to have, better film and, stats, to be able to kind of look at everything. Like in college, they kind of do it like weekly max prep. Like, you got to have like a membership or something like that. I don't really care. But anyway, man, listen. Miami ran the gauntlet with Florida teams. It's like they went like lower tier than okay, subpar, then the top echelon teams, and they beat both of them. They beat all of them, and they ran the gauntlet with Florida teams. So that's why we had to give them the crown. As you see, you already know what time it is. Miami did their thing this year. They really did their thing this year. Shout out to some of the many talented players that Miami have. I'm happy that they were able to find a quarterback in Carson Beck. I do think they got some really talented recruits coming in with, like Malachi Tony is absolutely insane. But I do kind of like using him better as a wildcat quarterback with the option of, throwing or running and get an actual quarterback, somebody that does play that position consistently. But we're not here to talk about that right now. We're here to talk about Miami whooping ass this year. I mean, I already knew going in that they was gonna beat the brakes off of Bethune. That's a no brainer. I'm really happy for Bethune though for winning the Classic this year and kind of bouncing back. I think they won like 5 games. So shout out to Miami and USF has had a ball like away from the loss to Miami. They unfortunately came up short to Navy and Memphis in some really nail biter games. But I'm kind of glad because after watching them all year, I had a lot of fun watching USF. But they were kind of wonky here and there. Like when they had to play games when they really got to compete, they kind of fell short. And I didn't want them to go to the playoffs because I knew they were gonna get blown out. Shout out to Tulane though for the Americans. I'm really happy for them. But Florida, hey, listen, Florida beat Texas this year. Remember that overrated, QB that they was hyping up this year, that Manning, who I don't really care to mention. But remember that I was hyping him up like he was like trenching into the game. He's gonna win the Heisman. He's projected to be, the number one draft pick in the NFL draft. Get out of here. You lost to Florida. You lost to Florida. Hey, shout out to Florida. Y'all beat Texas. I'm happy for you. Florida State. I don't know what happened to y'all. Y'all beat Bama, so hey, like if there's a silver lining to me talking about all these teams that got their ass whooped or just got beat by Miami, at least there's a silver lining in them because I still support all Florida teams. So I got to talk about the silver lining in all these teams, And I'm sorry, and USF beat Florida. Sorry about that, y'all. USF beat Florida, and I knew they could. I knew they could. After watching that Boise State game, USF put it on Boise State, and I was like, oh man, like if they can get on a roll and get that ball going and just get hurry up, no huddle, system on Florida, then I knew they was gonna beat them. I said I went into hopeful wishing, hoping it was a good game, but they got the brakes better by Miami. But I'm glad they was able to score. But Florida State, hey, congrats, y'all beat Alabama. That was y'all natty, honestly, because I don't really feel like that. Miami deserved to be in the playoffs, but excuse me, Alabama deserves to be in the playoffs, but that's a whole other conversation. That's a whole other conversation because we'll get to that, when we get to it. But I'm really proud of Miami. I'm really proud of the coaches. I'm really proud of the players. There's a player that really stood out to me as a true freshman by the name of Malachi Tony. If you haven't seen him on the Florida on Florida Violence page, he's up there. We got highlights of him all over the page in the shorts and also his own dedicated highlight video, which we actually have to redo and make longer with all his new highlights that's coming up. And then also because they make it a playoffs. But again, that'll be another conversation. But nah. Florida on Florida violence, baby. You see it live in effect. Miami did it. Miami ran the gauntlet. They beat and all challengers, they was ready. But I do think that that's a fun thing And I'm still kind of like debating on how I feel about it, like whether they should do it earlier in the season or whether they should do it later in the season and worry about their conference games first. Because I do think they kind of got a little distracted by, winning the gauntlet and winning, like the chair. This chair right here, this chair means something, boy. This chair means something, boy. You understand me, boy? You understand me, boy? That chair means something right there. You, baby. You. And I've seen Miami have runs like throughout the random years to where they'll have a decent season, coming along, and then somewhere along the lines they just melt down and lose a few pivotal games, and then it's just like, all right, the U's not back. But I'm glad to see them actually make it to where they are, and which I said also would be another video. But just Florida on Florida violence. We're gonna do this every single freaking year to the team that beats the most teams in Florida, and that could be anybody. I would love to see UCF get in on it because they didn't play nobody. They didn't play any Florida teams this year, and I don't like to see that. I like to see all the Florida teams competing against each other. I'm happy that FAU played a lot of Florida teams. I'm happy that FIU played a lot of Florida teams. I'm happy that Bethune played a lot of Florida teams. I'm really happy for them, all the Florida teams, because it's beautiful just to see, Florida talent compete against Florida talent, whether you at a top tier school or a lower tier school, it's still Florida talent. Baby, listen here, we riding, you understand me? We riding all night long, man, they ride. And Miami really did their thing this year. It's been a beautiful freaking year, a well-developed year. Again, like I said, I would like to see them get a quarterback that can play, the one next year, but we ain't gonna worry about that right now. We're going about this year, but Miami did their thing, as you can see, and that's why they got the crown this year. That's why they got the crown of Florida Kings of Florida this year. Goes to the Miami Hurricanes. So, man, if you a Miami fan or you a Miami player, give yourself a round of applause when you watch this video, man. Shout out to Miami. Shout out to them boys. I'm rooting for y'all all the way through, with the task that y'all have ahead. But, again, we're going to explain that in another video. So, y'all stay tuned, all right? Shout out to Miami and them boys out there.